Olá, bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite. Welcome to another podcast. I'm so sorry about this. I am Carla and my mom is in the studio with us today. She's going to be a guest and she's just making me laugh. Sorry about that. All right, so I am Carla, as many of you already know, and Marlon.
That's me.
Yes. So it's going to be a fun podcast, it seems to. Oh, what's this?
That's okay. So this is podcast 43.
43, yes. Welcome to podcast, ou bem-vindos ao podcast 43.
Good. Podcast 43, where you find a dialogue at ptwithcarla.portuguesewithcarla.com/podcast43 for the PDF and the audio loop and everything. And I've got the plague as well.
Yes, so you sound a bit nasally.
I do. So,
cold.
Carla, just tell us where we were at last week.
Yeah, so last time I went to the hairdressers and she couldn't fit me in because I wanted to have a haircut, colour my hair and have
a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, dry. So all that girls like. And today I am back to the hairdressers the following morning, and it's going to be a different one serving me than the one we had last week. So like I've mentioned before, it's going to be Mum.
Oh, okay, thank you. Hello, everyone.
That's right. She loves it when I speak in English for some reason. The reason why I was laughing earlier is because I really enjoy our little jingle, our intro, and I was, dancing to it a little bit, and Mum spotted it, and she was rolling her eyes at me. She didn't realize I was actually seeing that because we have a mirror opposite to us. So yeah, I saw all that. So sorry about that. Okay, mãe. Estás pronta? Are you ready?
Claro.
Okay, so let's
go.
Okay. Olá, bom dia.
Bom dia, é a Dona Susana, não é?
É isso mesmo.
Olha, pode sentar aqui. Então, que cor é que quer?
Olha, não queria fugir muito do meu tom natural.
Então deixe-me só buscar o catálogo. Os tons base são estes. Depois temos os cobres, temos os vermelhos ou os dourados, se quiser reflexos.
Reflexos dourados parecem-me bem.
Deixe-me ver se tem muitos cabelos brancos.
É capaz de encontrar um ou outro.
É que se tivesse muitos cabelos brancos, tínhamos que meter uma base. Mas como tem poucos, podemos pôr só a cor diretamente. É só escolher.
Eu estou aqui indecisa entre estes dois. O que é que você acha? Qual é que combina melhor com o meu tom de pele? Righty. Okay, let's translate this. Are you ready, Marlon? Yeah?
I am ready.
Okay, just so you guys have an idea of what we just said, we'll translate this into English and then we'll break it down in Portuguese, word by word. Sometimes I start with the beginning of the line. Marlon tends to start with the last words of the line and work his way backwards.
Okay.
So you just have to repeat after us, okay? But for now, just a translation. Right, so I started. I said, hello, good morning.
Good morning. It's Susanna, right?
That's right.
Well, you can sit down. What color would you like?
Well, I don't want to get away too much from my natural tone or color.
Then let me just grab the brochure. So the base shades or colors are these, and then you have the coppers, you have the reds, or you have the goldens if you want highlights.
Oh, golden highlights sound good to me.
Let me just have a look to see if you have many greys.
You might find one or two.
It's because if you had many greys, we would have to put a base color. But because you only have a few, we can put the color directly. It's just up to you to choose.
I'm a little unsure between these two. What do you think? Which one do you think goes better with my skin tone? Okay.
All right. If somebody asked me that question, I would say, no idea. I have no hair and I'm colorblind.
Yes,
the perfect
great.
combination.
My goodness, you sound terrific. Okay, the man I chose.
Yeah. Well, I do have hair, just not a great deal. Certainly not enough to color it. Not paint.
No, not paint. Very good. Yeah, dye or color. Very good. So let's break this down. Olá, bom dia. That was my first line.
Bom dia, Carla. Tá boa?
Está tudo bem, querido.
If you... Okay.
Okay, so olá, bom dia. Okay, so hopefully all of you listening to this will be familiar with these greetings. Olá, bom dia.
Bom dia.
Then we have a V for Wanda, our hairdresser.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
All right. So I say, or she said, bom dia.
Yeah.
As Carla just pronounced for you. É Dona Susana, não é? So I translated, it's Susanna, right? But she adds a dona, which is just an element of politeness. For somebody you don't know very well, it just adds a bit of distance between you and you don't know that person very well.
Yeah, because when you talk to someone, you don't tend to say, senhora... ... because many of you might know that we use senhor and senhora as a very formal way of approaching or referring to someone. But for a woman, when you're talking to them, we tend to use dona, don't we? Rather than senhora.
Yes, certainly.
You could say, senhora Dona Carla, but that's extremely formal, I suppose.
Do you use that with my mum still?
Dona, yeah. I do, yeah. I think she may have told me not to, but that was like years later after we've been together, so I can't bring myself to do it.
All right. Anyway, so she says, é a dona, is it Dona Susana? Não é? It's Dona Susana, isn't it? Não é? You'll hear né quite a bit. A lot of Portuguese love that expression. It's just não é, but in a shortened form, né. Não é, which is, I guess, the English in it. In it.
Não é, isn't it?
Isn't it? And then
or is
the
it
né,
not?
in
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Né is in it.
So this is a fairly simple line, so let's go straight through it, the whole thing. Bom dia. É a Dona Susana, não é? Bom dia. É a Dona Susana, não é?
Okay, great. So, é isso mesmo. It's exactly that. It's right. That's right. Okay.
Wow, you struggle.
No, I'm just giving you little translations. É isso mesmo. É isso mesmo. See how that S in the word mesmo, it doesn't sound like a sh, doesn't sound like a z, and it doesn't sound like a s. It sounds like a j, mesmo. It seems to happen that way. An S right before an M or a D seems to sound like a J in Portuguese, j, or the letter S in the word measure in English. So é isso mesmo.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right. So then she says, well, you can sit down here. And what color would you like? Pode sentar-se aqui. She could have said quite easily, pode sentar-se aqui. But your mum said, pode se sentar aqui, which is correct. Either one will do. Although we do tend to put those pronouns after the verbs in Portugal. But it's not wrong to say it like this.
Podes te sentar aqui, podes sentar-te aqui. Yeah. I suppose when in speech, anything goes.
You just,
Nearly.
It's interchangeable. Aqui, meaning here. Did you like the chair effect?
Very good, very good.
Sentar aqui. Pode-se sentar aqui. So as Carla hinted at there, if it was a friend, you would have said the te. Podes te, so you have to change the verb as well. Podes te sentar aqui. Pode-se sentar aqui. Pode-se sentar aqui. And the olho initially wasn't there in the dialogue, but it just came out naturally.
Yeah.
It just shows you how prolific that olho is in the Portuguese, European Portuguese. It just pops up everywhere.
Yeah, so then I use the same in my answer. Sorry, have you finished?
No, I'm not. Então, que cor é que queres? Okay, that would be tricky. There's a lot of k. Então, que cor é que quer?
É verdade.
But we'll go through it slowly. Quer. Que quer? É que quer? Que cor? Que cor? Que cor é que quer? Unfortunately, you cannot cut any of those.
No, I mean, there's different ways of saying it. You could say, qual é a cor? What is the color? Qual é a cor? No? And obviously, it's that the woman or the lady wants. So you don't need to say, what is the color that you want? It's not really necessary. Obviously, in this, que cor é que quer, then you need it, don't you?
Yeah.
Que cor quer? I suppose you could drop the ek.
Yeah,
cor quer?
it's more natural to say.
Cor deseja.
Yeah. Que cor é que quer? Ok? Então. Então, que cor é que quer? I know that'll take a while to practice, but just stick with it. Que cor é que quer?
Yeah, I still think that it's fine without the ek. Que cor quer? Maybe it's true. Some people
fine.
will say it like that, and it's not wrong.
It's not wrong, but it's much more common to add that que quer.
Maybe it's amongst the people we know. Okay, maybe,
No.
maybe we're common people. Yeah. So.
Radio.
Okay. Right. Sorry. Olha, não queria fugir muito do meu tom natural. So what I literally say is I didn't want to run away too much from my natural tone.
I don't want to flee from a natural tone.
Yes. So just get away. That's the translation I used earlier. Okay. All right. Ok, sim. É certo. Olha, não queria ou não queria fugir. Nós dizemos queria ou queria. Não queria fugir. Não queria fugir muito. Não queria fugir muito do meu tom. Não é tom. Tom. Do meu tom. Um som anasalado. Natural.
O som anasalado vem de onde, Carla?
Tom do nariz.
Do nariz.
Não é? Do nariz. Então, não queria fugir muito do meu tom natural. Do meu tom natural. Ok?
Ok.
Bom, faça favor.
Então, a senhora lá do cabeleireiro diz: então deixe-me ir buscar. Hã?
A cabeleireira.
Pois, com certeza. Deixe-me ir buscar o catálogo. Nós traduzimos aqui brochura, também serve. Deixe-me ir buscar o catálogo. Catálogo. Ir buscar. Ir buscar o catálogo. Deixe-me ir buscar. Deixe-me. Reparem que aqui o M quase desaparece. Deixe-me. Parece que só se faz o M-E, o me, é só o nariz. Deixe-me. Não é? Deixe-me. Deixe-me ir buscar o catálogo. Então, deixe-me ir buscar o catálogo. E o me e o ir juntam-se, os dois, fica deixe-me ir. Deixe-me ir buscar o catálogo. E depois ela diz, bom, os tons base são estes. Então, os tons base são estes. Estes porque ela provavelmente está a apontar para o catálogo, estão ali ao pé dela, estes. Então, são estes. Os tons, ou os tons base. Os tons base. Os tons base são estes. Ok? Depois ela faz aqui uma amostra do catálogo e mostra-lhe os tons que estão disponíveis. Portanto, tens os cobres, os vermelhos e os dourados. Então, deixa-me só meter aqui um bocadinho de inglês. Just because we spent an inordinate amount of time trying to figure out what a perfect translation for this next bit
Technical
was.
terms. We ain't hairdressers.
So we said highlights at the end there, if you want highlights. But reflexes could also be an option. A glinting of, a tinge of... Because reflexes are not quite the same... highlights are not quite the same as reflexos. Correct?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Highlights, in my mind, I always thought highlights would be madeixas. You know, there's a great contrast between an obvious contrast between your natural or the base color of your hair with these, bits of different color. So I would class that as madeixas or luzes, lights, literally translated.
You actually use it?
Luzes? Yes, I've heard people say. I've heard my cousin who lives in Angola, and I've heard Brazilian people. So I don't know if luzes are used more in Angola and Brazil. But in Portugal, I remember hearing madeixas more so. Madeixas. Reflexos. I always had the idea that, you could have this brown color on your hair and have sort of a red tone to it. So when the light shines on it, then you see this red reflecting. So to me, that's slightly different to actual highlights. But when you Google or when you type highlights into an online dictionary, it comes out, hair highlights. It says that the translation is either luzes, reflexos, or madeixas. So you'd have to be very specific.
I proceed to apologize for all the men listening to this podcast who probably have...
Well, some men might enjoy this
whatsoever.
and some women might not. But,
true.
It's just there's a lot of still lines that are relevant to anybody wanting to learn and vocabulary.
I mean, this explanation...
But this section, sorry about that. Okay, so let's move on.
No, it's good for those who want to know. Quiser reflexos. Se quiser reflexos. That's a tricky word.
Reflexos. Well, reflexes, I suppose it's very close to English if you speak English.
So reflex could also mean the same as when you look at your mirror.
Reflection.
And you see a reflection of yourself. That also works. Reflex.
Yeah.
Okay. Se quiser reflexos.
Yeah. And notice how quiser is from the verb querer, to want. And it's in the one of the tenses of the conjunctive or subjunctive. And that's if you wish. So it's not indicative that you want to have, but it's a probability or a possibility that you may want to. So that's what the tenses of the conjunctive are. They just express possibility, probability, doubt, desire, wish. It's a bit unsure.
Okay.
Okay.
Ou os dourados. Dourados comes from the word ouro, or in some parts of Portugal they actually say oiro. Yeah, both are correct, meaning gold. Ouro, oiro. More commonly, ouro. Os dourados, vermelhos. So that's red. Vermelho, red, vermelhos. Just the plural. Temos os... The S becomes a Z sound. Temos os vermelhos, ou os dourados, se quiser reflexos. And just the beginning of that sentence. Depois temos os cobres. Cobres. From copper. Cobre. Cobres. Temos os... Once again, the Z sound. Temos os cobres. Depois. After. Or then. Depois temos os cobres. Temos os vermelhos. Ou os dourados. Se quiser reflexos. So let's just do the whole line again now, but I would like you to do it along with me, because this is a long one. So in 3, 2, 1. Então, deixe-me ir buscar o catálogo. Os tons base são estes. Depois temos os cobres, temos os vermelhos ou os dourados, se quiser reflexos. All right, Carla.
Yeah. Okay. So I like the sound of golden or gold highlights. So it's still, in my mind, if I'm actually being this person at the hairdressers, I would want brown shade or brown color with
golden tinge.
Yeah. So when the sun shines on it, parts of it will look goldish. Okay, so reflexos dourados parecem-me bem. So gold highlights, let's just stick to highlights for now. Or golden highlights sound good to me, or they seem good or well to me, literally. Parecem-me bem, sound good to me. Reflexos dourados parecem-me bem. So I think in English you would always say sound good because she said it. And you can visualize it. So that's why we say parecem. In Portuguese, we say parecem rather than seem to, rather than sound to, because we can visualize it, how it would look. And obviously there's a sample that she's showing me as well. So reflexos dourados parecem bem. So let's say that again. Reflexos dourados parecem bem.
This is what I was saying earlier. It parecem, that me at the end is almost just there's almost no tongue and no mouth involved. There's
just your lips, isn't
only
it?
the vocal cords and just your mouth shut, doing the nasal sound. Parecem bem. Okay. But then she says, deixa-me ver se tem muitos cabelos brancos. Literally, let me see if you have many white hairs. But, of course, in English, at least where we live in England, it tends to be greys, right? Yeah. We don't say, you got a lot of... Well, you could say you got a few white hairs, but it's more if you got greys.
Usually people say greys, yeah.
Deixa-me ver se tem muitos cabelos brancos. Brancos. Cabelos brancos. Muitos cabelos brancos. Deixe-me ver... Deixe-me ver. Deixe-me ver. If you're reading to public, in a public situation, you want the reading to be absolutely accurate, you would say deixe-me ver. But when he's speaking, deixe-me ver. Can you tell the difference? Deixe-me ver, deixe-me ver.
No.
You can't?
What did you do?
The E drops out.
What?
Deixe-me ver, deixe-me ver.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, sometimes you sort of like overstress it, I suppose, just because you want to make sure that everybody understands the sound that we're making. So it's audible.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's we tend to not actually make too much of it, not emphasize it.
So the whole line again. Deixe-me ver se tem muitos cabelos brancos. All right, Carla.
É capaz de encontrar... Oh, you've got, I think, a word too much there. É capaz de encontrar de um ou outro. É capaz de encontrar ou outro.
Not in the...
Okay, so just in my one. Okay. So you are capable of finding one or another. This is literally, so in English is one or two. É capaz de encontrar ou outro. É capaz de encontrar, é capaz de encontrar, é capaz de encontrar ou outro. Not ou. No, the M is just a nasal sort of sound, okay? Ou outro. Ou outro. Ok? Ok, the whole line, a frase toda. É capaz de encontrar um ou outro. Once again, say it with me. É capaz de encontrar um ou outro. Well done. Okay?
It's like those tapes.
I can hear them.
Well done.
I can hear them.
É capaz. It's an interesting sort of... Oh, somebody wants to ring you or something.
Can you turn that off?
I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, it doesn't matter. É capaz de encontrar um ou outro. So, é capaz comes from... It's an interesting expression because you could use it for a lot of stuff. In this particular instance...
Like it's possible, isn't it?
In this particular instance, you were saying you are able to. You might be able to. But you could just use it to say, oh, it's possible.
That you may find.
No, but even just general.
Yeah.
For example, is it going to rain in England? Well, that would be a yes, it is. But is it going to rain in Portugal in November?
Or is it going to rain tomorrow? Oh,
you could say
capaz.
é capaz. And you're not referring to the person. You're just referring to the weather in general.
The possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
So it's a really useful sentence there. I think it was my mum. Maybe I should have said, yes, mum, come on the podcast.
And you could hear some Portuguese in its natural environment.
É capaz de encontrar um ou outro. All right, good. So she says, é que se tivesse muitos cabelos brancos, tínhamos que meter uma base. It's because if you had many greys, we would have to put a base color. Meter uma base. Meter uma base. Put a base. Or stick a base on.
A base color.
Yeah. Tínhamos que meter uma base. Tínhamos, she's actually referring to both of them, both the hairdressers and the person. Or I guess the hairdressers and a helper, but it's plural. Tínhamos que meter uma base. É que se tivesse muitos cabelos brancos, so let's break that down. Cabelos brancos, you heard that one before. Cabelos brancos. Se tivesse, it's a s sound, not a z. Z, no. Se tivesse muitos cabelos brancos, é que, just, she's saying, it's because, or, yeah, that's what she's saying. É que se tivesse muitos cabelos brancos, tínhamos que meter uma base. And then she finishes by saying, well, actually, now she has 2 sentences left. Mas como tem poucos, but as you have just a few, we can put the color straight on. Or diretamente, directly. Mas como tem poucos, few, podemos pôr, again, she's using the plural, we can put, só a cor diretamente.
Yeah, so there, I'm sorry, just going to quickly mention, we've used two different verbs, meter and pôr, but they both mean put in English. Okay, there's another one which is colocar. Again, it's very much Portuguese, but the Brazilians tend to use that more than we do. So meter and pôr are the usual verbs that we choose to use when we mean put.
So that short sentence again, mas como tem poucos, podemos pôr só a cor diretamente. É só escolher. So, é só escolher. It's what she's saying is, literally, it's just choose.
Yeah, just to choose. So it's just down to you.
It's down to you to
Make
choose.
Make a choice.
Yeah.
And
so
we're
all
ready
that's
to
left
go.
to be done is for you to choose. All right, é só escolher. Carla, last line.
All right. So I'm a little unsure. Undecided.
That's the
Yeah.
literal translation.
Estou aqui indecisa entre estes dois. So I'm here and undecided between these two. What do you think? Which one matches better or goes better with my skin tone? Ok? Então, Eu estou aqui indecisa entre estes dois. Eu estou aqui indecisa. I could just say eu estou indecisa, but we like to throw in more words than necessary. Estou aqui indecisa. Eu estou aqui indecisa entre estes dois. Entre estes dois. The E at the end of entre is silent. The E from estes, the first E is not silent. So you combine the two words and pronounce the E from estes. Entre estes. Estou aqui indecisa entre estes dois. O que é que você acha? O que é que você acha? O que é que você acha? What do you think? O que é que você acha? Qual é que combina melhor? Qual é que combina melhor?
Which combines the best or
Matches.
goes best with.
Qual é que combina melhor com o meu tom de pele? Com, not com, com o meu tom de pele. Com o meu tom de pele. Okay, so the whole line from the top. Eu estou aqui indecisa entre estes dois. O que é que você acha? Qual é que combina melhor com o meu tom de pele? That O from o que é que você acha wasn't really emphasized, was it? So many of you will say that you haven't heard it ever so subtly. I mean, it was just there, just made it. But yeah, o que é que você acha? It's just so subtle, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
But it's there. But it doesn't really matter. I mean, if you don't say it, you're still communicating and putting your point across. It still makes sense. Sometimes we say it without it, don't we? Que que achas?
Yeah, generally
so
it is
it's
there,
okay. Yeah. All right.
Is that it?
This is it.
Oh,
Yeah, we're
good.
done.
We are done.
Podcast 43.
ptwithcarla.com/podcast 43. Well, it's a bit late now. But you would get the dialogue, the transcript. We heavily
What do you mean it's late?
recommend. Well, it's gone because you've gone through to the end of the podcast.
Oh, okay.
You should have. Well, if you want to download the PDF, if you want to go through the, and we do recommend that you go through the loop and do after the podcast, then do a
Just listen to the actual
yeah, and say it
dialogue.
along with us, so you can practice it. That's great for pronunciation. I think I mentioned this before.
Yeah, and I think it's good, particularly in this case, that you actually follow along and look at the transcript and you see the different people speaking, because I have been told that me and Mum we sound similar. Some people think we
so.
sound the same. I know
no.
some people can tell, but some others have actually said that we sound quite similar to each other. So you might want to keep an eye on the transcript just to follow it easier.
At least
easily.
in accent, there's quite a sharp difference between the two.
Yeah, but then again, we're not in our natural environment. We're playing characters that, we're playing characters. We're not playing ourselves. So then, I think we put on a different accent.
So, ptwithcarla.com/podcast 43. You can get this, of course, every week delivered to your device if you just subscribe to Portuguese with Carla podcast, or go on YouTube and you can find Portuguese with Carla, and you can subscribe there and get all the podcasts, or most of them, all of the most recent certainly, will be there. Just subscribe and I'll get them delivered to you straight away. PT with Carla is your Twitter handle. And also, Carla, if they want to find you on Facebook, for example?
Yeah, Portuguese with Carla. If you're on Facebook, that's all you have to type.
Yeah, very good. We love, love, love those good, nice, kind
Positive
comments, both on iTunes and on YouTube and on our website. Those are really
Thank
nice.
you very much. Keep them coming.
Yes. And I didn't mention this last week, but if you have any questions regarding Portuguese, why at PortugueseWithCarla.com, or if you go to the individual podcast page, you have a little form that you can fill in. Just if you have any questions, like why do you do this? Why is it that
Why do you say it like that? Why do you pronounce it like that?
Exactly. We would love to hear those.
Yeah.
So we haven't had many of those, so it'd be great to get a few more. Okay, so Carla,
All right.
should I put the end jingle?
Sim. Ok, tchau.
E até a próxima.
Bom dia, uma
Até a
boa
próxima.
tarde, uma boa noite. Adeus.